In a chilling moment, as everyone held their breath, Amira cried out in a trembling voice, "Jesus told me to do it, I'm Mariam." Her words struck like a thunderbolt, shaking everyone who heard them. How could a young woman at the dawn of her life commit a horrific crime and justify it with such cryptic words? Was she speaking of a real person, or was something far darker lurking behind those claims? In a single instant, her life went from dreams and ambition into a scandal that gripped the public. How had she gone from dreaming of travel and soaring through the skies to standing in a courtroom, accused of unthinkable crime? But before we begin, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, grab your favorite drink and get ready. The story you're about to hear might just be out of this world. Back in 2009, Amira was just an ordinary Tunisian girl fresh out of university. She dreamed of a bright future. She grew up in a modest family like so many others, living a simple and assuming life. But Amira was different. She believed she was born to stand out. She saw herself better than those around her, and she was determined to prove it. Since childhood, she had only one dream: to become a flight attendant. She did everything she could to make it happen, took care of her appearance, focused on her education, and shaped her personality to match the job she craved. When the time came, she applied to airline after airline, determined to carve out her place among the clouds. But was this dream truly her only escape from her ordinary life? Her family didn't stand in her way, though the idea of her as a flight attendant, with its constant travel and long absences, didn't sit entirely comfortably with them. Then came the pivotal moment. Amira received an offer from one of the Arab world's biggest airlines, an offer too good to refuse. By early 2013, she'd passed all the tests and clearances, finally ready to move to the UAE, where she will start her new life. She packed her bags and moved to the UAE, excited for a new world full of opportunities and experiences. Her life there was completely different. She mingled with diverse cultures, met people from all walks of life, and soaked up ideas and lifestyles she'd never known. This wasn't just a job. It sparked a radical shift of her identity, a shift no one could have guessed would end where it did. But what truly hooked Amira, consuming her thoughts, was energy science. It wasn't just curiosity. It became an all-consuming obsession. She deeply believed everyone had hidden energy within them, and that by learning to control it, they could purge negativity and replace it with positivity. To her, this idea wasn't just a theory. It was a magic key to taking total control of her life. She didn't stop at reading and research. She sought out anyone claiming to be an energy expert, someone who can read palms, interpret fortunes, or reveal the future through tarot cards. With her frequent travel, she sank deeper and deeper into this world. She met people who boasted supernatural powers, calling themselves energy healers, spiritual therapists, soul advisors. The title didn't matter to her, only the results did. At first, it was harmless curiosity, a session here, a session there. Then it became a habit. Finally, it spiraled into an addiction. She paid outrageous sums for sessions, promising cleanse negative energy and attract positivity. She tried everything new, any technique, any promise of unlocking her future. Yet, through it all, she kept up appearances. Her job as a flight attendant continued. Her travels never paused, and no one around her sensed the real danger slowly creeping into her mind. Then came 2017, a year that changed everything. Amira met Omar, an Egyptian engineer living in the UAE. Successful, well paid. It didn't take long before he proposed, and she accepted without hesitation. Omar didn't mind the age gap, especially since she didn't look it. They married that same year, and their life began smoothly. Omar at his job, Amira still flying as a flight attendant. But one thing stood out to Omar: her intense focus on meditation, yoga, and her growing immersion to the energy world. To him, it seemed harmless, just a personal interest like anyone else's. Little did he know this innocent fascination would lead somewhere far, far darker. Then came 2020, a year like no other to Amira. Early that year, she found out she was pregnant. News that meant the world to her. She wasn't worried about how motherhood might affect her flight attendant career. She'd always dreamed of becoming a mother. This was part of her life grand plan, and she was thrilled to the new chapter. chapter ahead. When she gave birth to a baby girl and named her Rana, Amira felt this child wasn't just a daughter, but a key to a profound transformation for her and for her husband Omar. But the change wasn't just about motherhood and responsibility. It ran much deeper. Amira began noticing things she'd never been aware of before, or at least, that's what she believed. She'd tell Omar she could see things no one else saw, hear voices no one else heard, and sense events before they happened, as if she'd unlocked some secret's ability to glimpse the future. This wasn't just intuition or guesswork, but a concrete conviction that she'd reached an unprecedented level of control over her energy. As her belief in these abilities grew, she dove deeper into meditation and spirituality sessions. It was no longer just a hobby or passing interest. It had become an all-consuming passion, determined to take it further. She traveled to Italy for an intensive energy science workshop at one of the field's most elite centers. By the end, she walked away with a certified diploma, declaring her a master energy practitioner. That certificate wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a major turning point in her life's path. She returned to the UAE with a new dream, opening her own energy healing center. True to form, it wasn't long before she launched her first clinic, proudly displaying her diploma on the wall. She offered everything: meditation sessions, palm readings, tarot interpretations, and even astrology, all at premium prices that matched her so-called expertise. As her reputation grew, so did her services. The center expanded beyond traditional sessions to include sound therapy, yoga, and deep meditation, with certificates plastered everywhere, lending the place of an air of fake legitimacy that drew even more clients. Omar, he had no complaints. His wife was achieving incredible success, growing her brand daily, and making money he'd only dreamed of. Clients flooded her center, and her name started popping up in the media. Almost overnight, Amira became the energy healing expert, a title that wasn't just academic, but a powerful marketing tool. Thanks to this label, she became a regular guest on UAE talk show, introduced to audiences as a specialist in banishing negative energy and mastering self-control. She leveraged every TV appearance to boost her fame, urging viewers to book sessions and selling them glossy packaged delusions. But behind all this success lay secrets nobody knew. Secrets that would turn her story into one of the Arab world's most shocking scandals. In 2023, everything shifted when Omar landed an incredible job opportunity in Egypt. This wasn't just a career move. It was a chance to return to his roots and settle near his family. For Amira, relocating in Egypt wasn't a problem at all. Quite the opposite. She knew that Egypt's market for energy science was massive, maybe even bigger than UAE's. All it needed was little networking and marketing. Two things she'd mastered perfectly. This transition wasn't sudden for her. She'd visited Egypt multiple times before, but not just as a tourist. She'd attended several energy workshops there. Yet, one stood apart. A workshop unlike any other. Back in 2021, Amira had traveled to Egypt for an unusually exclusive training session. Nothing like the workshops she'd done in Italy or in the UAE. This one held near the pyramids, under murky circumstances, led by an Italian expert who became something of a secret key to her life. This man wasn't just an instructor. He was like a spiritual teacher, someone with a philosophy that went far beyond controversial energy science. The workshop wasn't open to the public. Only 15 people worldwide, all drawn by something deeper than mainstream energy healing. What happened inside that workshop, and why was it the most dangerous experience in Amira's life? After moving to Egypt, Omar, Amira, and their daughter Rana settled in Rehab City, each of them focusing on his life. While Omar focused on his job, Amira had entirely different plans. It didn't take long for her to open her own energy healing and meditation center. This time, the experience was unlike anything before. Sessions didn't rely on meditation alone. They used strange music, played on even stranger instruments, all unfolding in an atmosphere thick with mystery. Clients didn't leave these sessions feeling relaxed. Instead, they felt something entirely different. A sense that something else had been in the room with them. Something they couldn't see but was undeniably present. As for Amira, she was no longer the person anyone anyone remembered. She spoke of cryptic visions, invisible entities, things only she could perceive. And this wasn't imagination or delusion. It was the result of what happened there, at that workshop near the pyramids. What did she learn? What changed her so profoundly? The answers lay in the details of that workshop. Details that would expose a dangerous secret, turning her story into one of the Arab world's most baffling cases. The moment Amira became utterly convinced that energy could control everything, money, love, destiny itself, she crossed into territory that made her the perfect target. A target for people who knew exactly how to exploit such blind faith. After the Italian expert finished his lecture, he asked Amira to approach him. It wasn't a casual request, and what followed was anything but ordinary. She closed her eyes as instructed. She felt precise touches on specific points of her body, followed by mysterious hand movements. For a moment, she slipped clean out of reality, finding herself in a place she'd never seen, a world that existed only within her. When she opened her eyes again, a strange feeling washed over her. Why her? Why had he chosen her out of all 15 attendees? Did the others experience the same, or was she alone in this? When Amira tried to make sense of it, she asked others if they'd seen what she saw. Everyone insisted nothing unusual had happened. Only then did she realize her vision wasn't collective, it was hers alone. But what she witnessed wasn't simple. Amira claimed she saw Prophet Jesus and Prophet Moses standing before her, speaking to her directly, not as imagination, as real presences. They told her she was the chosen one, gifted with supernatural abilities and divine blessings no one else could comprehend. When she confronted the Italian expert and asked why he'd selected her, he only gave a cryptic smile and didn't comment. His silence spoke louder than any explanation. From that day, Amira was changed. She began seeing people others couldn't, conversing with invisible entities, consulting them in her decisions, as if they were a real part of her life. Every time she looked in the mirror, she felt like someone else, something far beyond any ordinary woman. But did it stop there? Not long after, Amira received an unexpected message from the Italian expert. It contained just one line: "I created you." A chill ran through her body. What did he mean? She rejected his words completely, couldn't even process them. But when she confronted him, his reply grew even stranger. "I am the Mahdi, and you've been chosen for a divine mission." At that moment, everything spiraled out of control. Amira no longer felt human. She became convinced she was the Virgin Mary herself. And there was no turning point. A whole year passed since the workshop. Amira's success only grew. Her influence among energy science believers expanded until she saw herself as an entity above humanity. But she wasn't the only one noticing changes. Her husband Omar watched her behavior grow stranger by the day. When she told him she'd spoken to Prophet Jesus and Prophet Moses, he could only stare in silent shock. He knew something was wrong, but how far would it go? He never imagined the hell awaiting him. One evening in their home, Amira sat with Omar and their daughter Rana for a normal family dinner. Afterward, she excused herself to sit alone for a while, claiming she needed a meditation session. She stood before the mirror, staring at a reflection that no longer felt like her own. Her eyes had lost their usual spark, as if another soul lived inside her. She recalled the Italian expert's words: "When you reach the truth, there is no going back." There was nothing unusual, until Omar heard strange noises an hour later. It seemed like someone was screaming for help or falling on the ground. He rushed to the room and threw open the door to a scene his mind couldn't process. Amira stood clutching scissors, stabbing herself in the neck and chest, sobbing and screaming. She gazed upward, declaring that her time had come. Omar froze, then lunged. He wrestled the scissors from her hands, desperately trying to stop the bleeding. With trembling fingers, he called an ambulance while fighting to keep her alive. But the worst was yet to come. The true horror was waiting in the next room. As paramedics worked on Amira, one went to check Rana's room for safety. Approaching her bed, he stopped. The small body lay completely still, blue, with clear signs of strangulation around the neck. Rana was dead. Omar stood paralyzed, reality shattering around him. Everything collapsed at terrifying speed, a dark nightmare with no escape. At the hospital, Amira was under heavy guard. After days of silence, she finally spoke, and what she said shocked everyone. During my meditation, I suddenly saw Prophet Jesus and Prophet Moses before me. They told me I was the Virgin Mary, chosen to ascend to heaven. But I couldn't go alone. I had to take my loved ones with me. But Omar, he was evil, not chosen. So I decided to take Rana. Amira claimed she feared her daughter would suffer pain, so she chose to strangle her rather than use a blade. Once certain Rana was gone, she tried to take her own life to follow, but she failed, and this became her greatest sorrow and rage. She screamed at Omar, blaming him for sabotaging her divine mission. All this was divine command. Yet the true shock wasn't her words, but the medical report issued after her examination. Her mind was perfectly sound. No pathological hallucinations, no psychological disorder to explain her actions. This was a case where delusion transcended the mind and became crime. As authorities continue investigating this unprecedented case, haunting questions remain. How could a rational person reach this point? Was she merely a victim of ideological manipulation, or was there something deeper beyond our human understanding? One truth that goes through it all: playing with minds and blind faith in any idea can lead to a bottomless abyss. Amira now waits behind bars as the investigation unfolds. Evidence piles up, but now the court has ruled. She had been sentenced to 15 years of hard prison for killing her daughter. Questions multiply, answers remain elusive. Was she a pawn of a larger game, or does she guard an unconfessed secret? Time is merciless. Will justice truly prevail, or will the truth remain buried forever? That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.